This episode is brought to you by the Star Wars card trading app from Topps.
This is like the classic Topps card.
Yeah, it's like classic card collecting, card trading. Topps has been doing Star Wars cards since the 70s, so like the app has all of the retro cards made from scans of the original 70s stuff up through episode 7. So you collect cards, you open packs up, you share them with your friends and stuff. If you go to topps.com/thumbs, you can sign up. Right now, you get 5 or more packs a day just for logging in.
How do you spell that?
TOPPS.com/thumbs.
Nice.
Topps thumbs is good. It's April 8th, 2015.
This is Idle Thumbs 205. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Sean Vanneman.
And I'm Nick Brecken.
If only.
I know, man, I wish.
Really hope this is somebody's first episode, and they'll be confused for life now.
I'm Jake Rodkin. I'm not Nick Brecken. I'm just sitting near a painting of Nick Brecken.
That's true.
It's been a while since it was this Threever.
Yeah.
I think. I don't remember doing it recently.
This is like version 2.0 classic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, welcome new listeners to this podcast.
This is actually apropos because before we get into the podcast that we're actually doing, we are also the same 3 people who are on a new podcast that we just launched yesterday, or by the time you hear this, I guess a couple days ago, called The End of Mad Men, which we are going to be releasing weekly following each airing of the final episodes of AMC's drama Mad Men, which is ending in next month, I guess. Series finale, I guess.
If you listened to Idle Thumbs back when the first half of Mad Men Season 7 was on, almost a year ago now, you either were really excited by, or annoyed by, or I guess ambivalent towards the fact that we kept talking about Mad Men at the end of every episode during that run. And now we just... Yeah, so actually... It's now its own show.
Yeah, there were several readers who explicitly requested that we spin that non-segment off into a real podcast. And so now we've done that, and you can listen to it. In our first episode covering the first, I guess, the first of the last.
The one that aired, the episode that aired last Sunday.
Yep, is up, and you can listen to it.
It'd be awesome if you subscribe to it on iTunes. We want to be the best Mad Men podcast, and we actually have that in our grasp right now.
It's possible. There are a bunch of Mad Men podcasts on iTunes right now, but we could be the best one.
We currently are the best one.
We're
the second best one right now. Second best. But we're the Mad Men podcast that is called The End of Mad Men. It does not have a picture of Don Draper sitting down. So if you're subscribed to a Mad Men podcast whose album art is Don Draper in a chair,
it is inferior.
It's the wrong one. Look for ours. It's got like a picture of a building. There's like only 2 other ones that have a building and a perspective logo. So,
all right. So anyway, you can go to endofmadmen.com and find all that stuff. So, video games. How about those? I have been playing. Well, I played a bunch of. Did you get? I know that I talked about Captain Forever like a few months ago on the podcast. Have either of you guys ever played Captain Forever?
I've not played it, and it sounded intriguing at the time, and I've completely forgotten what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a new like entry in what I now realize is actually a fairly wide-ranging series of games called Captain Forever. And the new one is called Captain Forever Remix, and it's basically the original Captain Forever, but just totally rebuilt from scratch by different people than the guy who originally made it.
So it's like Binding of Isaac Rebirth?
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of like that. It feels... I like what this is more than I got into Rebirth. Even though I know people really like Rebirth, and I know that it was a good and necessary thing to happen. To me... the art in Rebirth felt less cool, whereas the art in the original Captain Forever, it's like Asteroids style art, like Atari Battlezone, like Asteroids type of sort of line art. It is really cool
like
looking.
Vector system stuff?
Yeah, it looks like vector system stuff. It's cool looking, but Captain Forever Remix is just a completely, totally different approach. It's like Cartoon Network style, like high quality line art animation. And it looks it's really attractive. It looks really nice. And it was actually made by my buddy Dean Tate, who I had nothing to do with this. I did the music for his previous game, but I was absolutely unconnected to this.
For the unrelated Captain Bubble Knot.
Yes, right. Yeah,
He works on the
Didn't
Captain
even occur to me that he
series.
works on. Yeah, God. Speaking of Captain series, so I
Was in the Captain's Lounge. And
so
were you really? Is that where the story's going?
no.
You being in the Captain's Lounge of like the American Airlines? Like,
No, I go to the Admirals Club frequently,
oh, sorry.
but
Captain's Lounge, please.
Enjoy the buzzard's roost, plebe.
I was reading an interview with Farbs, the guy who made the original Captain Forever, and apparently I didn't know this. So Captain Forever you can play online if you just search for Captain Forever. It might be CaptainForever.com. You can play it in a browser for free. There are apparently like 6 sequels to this game that you can access if you just like donate to him to allow him to continue to be an independent game developer. You can just like, give him a donation, and in doing so, you will unlock access to like all these other Captain Forever games he's made, which are called like Captain Successor, like Captain fucking Procedure, or like they're all named Captain something. I can't remember what they're all called. But it's a whole series of games, and apparently I've heard that the kind of lore and world of these games is like crazily built out, which you'd never guess from just playing the original Captain Forever for a while.
This is the game where you build ships out of pieces.
Oh yeah, why
right?
didn't I say that?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
I'm like, maybe everybody knows what this is.
No, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I should have said that instantly. It's Asteroids like in that you have a little ship and you rotate it around.
It's a top-down
and then
perspective,
have
right?
thrusters that go for that you fire. But as you destroy other ships, they break up into their component parts, and with a mouse you click and drag those parts onto your ship. So as you go through, it's really cool. So as you go through this world, you are and your ship can be blown up the same way. So if people like damage your ship, your pieces will fly off of it, and then you have to rebuild.
Holy shit! Sorry, I'm looking at an image of. I'm looking at.
It looks nice, right?
Yeah. That's not the original.
Wow.
Which one?
No, this is
remix.
Forever for remix.
Oh, this is remix. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can
'cause
see what I mean about the art, right? And like, there's 2D art of like enemies that when you're near an enemy, like a hand drawn image of them comes up on the screen and they taunt you. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I saw one of them was like a fat spider wearing 4 pairs of 3D glasses.
People are good at shader.
I mean, that sounds accurate. I don't remember that one, but that's totally in the style of what this game is like.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
This is awesome. Sorry, I just keep watching the same GIF of a thing exploding. And things
This is a
snapping
game that
that's ensorceling.
I love GIF screenshots. I think it's such a cool way to market games, and this game lends itself well to it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good little Idle Thumbs hot tip. If you're working on a game and you want to keep people excited about your game, screenshots, great, whatever, gotta have them. People need them for press.
At this point, I feel like screenshots are more useful to get people to put them on their phones and stuff,
Right.
than they are as marketing.
But it's not GIFs.
Yeah, GIFs
are where it is at.
And people are going to complain that we're saying GIFs because we're saying it
I
in
don't
English right
care.
now.
It's totally fine.
Say-
Either way.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
You need those yifes.
So anyway, Captain Forever is cool. This game right now is out on Steam in early access, which has become kind of like a loaded, zone.
So you're saying it's bad and it's never going to be done?
A bit of an albatross to say that you're an early access
Exactly.
game.
But in this case, so as someone who never delved into the furthest depths of what I now realize to be a crazy series that is Captain Forever, to me, playing Captain Forever Remix feels just as full featured and full of a game as the original Captain Forever, which I could play for hours did. It's got that same core loop of building up your ship, losing pieces of it, rebuilding, every once in a while, stopping, taking stock. And one of my favorite things to do is, because the way the game works is it's a series of stages, and on each stage you have to beat a level 1 enemy, then a level 2 enemy, and the level is populated with enemies of all different levels. But you have to kill a level 8 one to get past the the 8th stage, and they get increasingly, and Jake is cracking
This
up
is
right now.
insane. The levels are populated with enemies of different levels. You have to kill the level 8-1. Like, that is also a level designation.
I know, I'm sorry.
When Mario has to defeat level 8-1 inside of this meta game where you step on a Goomba and then Mario falls into world 8-1.
Like, if Chris had not gone through puberty and was explaining it, it just would have been the best.
Right.
It would have been the most precious moment.
So that
you have to kill the level 8-1 to get past level 8. It's like, yes, Christopher. Yes,
Sorry.
yes,
Okay.
Scoutin.
So each stage of the game is populated with enemies.
For what it's worth, we're just making fun of you.
Yeah,
we understood what
I
you
completely
said.
followed what you said, but at the same time, I stepped back and watched that sentence like write it out
Form
in my
itself.
brain as like a bad student motion graphics project where the word level kept popping up.
I dragged the words together too hastily in the Captain Forever that is my mind.
Oh, okay.
So the thing about that becomes really harrowing is that the enemies actually get pretty intense, like because they, like you, are just ships that are just big collections of like bulkheads and hull pieces and guns and thrusters. They're just crazy ship designs that are just like a 20 by 1 row of guns with like 40 thrusters behind them.
Oh,
And
yeah. So I imagine that your ship, unless you're playing specifically to do this, you do not have a very aesthetically pleasing ship in this game. You just
I think
have
it's
garbage.
probably pretty. I would guess this is the case for me, and I would guess this is the case for most people. That most people end up with a ship that is relatively symmetrical, and the reason is because the mass distribution matters. Like if you have a ship that has like 4 bulkheads on the left side and 2 bulkheads on the right side, and equally spaced thrusters on both sides,
It's just
your
gonna-
ship will just skew left all the time because there's so much more mass there.
Okay.
It's not complicated. It's very intuitive. It works
Sure.
exactly like how it looks like it should. It's not like playing Kerbal Space Program or something.
You're not trying to build a besieged
no,
machine
no.
in real
It's
time.
very,
while-
very
yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
to understand the give and take. But because of that, you find yourself wanting to basically even it out. I mean, I will often be in a situation where also the pieces of your ship take individual damage before they blow up. So you want to swap out the pieces that are getting damaged. And often you're just not in an ideal situation. So like I've been in a situation where I just have a fucking L-shaped Tetris piece of a ship because everything else has been destroyed. And I'm just like basically fucking like rope-a-doping an enemy, or like trying to draw 2 big strong enemies to shoot at each other, because they will do that. They will also like blow each other up because friendly fire is a thing. So that I can then like just get straight to their command module. That's the part, if you destroy they count as being dead.
Do you have a command module on your ship
Yes,
as well?
and
Okay.
if that gets blown up, you lose the game. And so you
What's
end up
the
in
length of a life in this game?
it could be anything. Like you could die. I mean, it's like you keep going until you die. So
Right.
anywhere from 5 minutes to like half an hour, I guess. But not
It's not one of those games where you're like going on hour 4 with the same ship and you've been
people.
at it.
There are probably people who do. I'm certainly not in that league. It starts getting so intense. But the really like
So the
satisfying,
real Captain Forever's out there.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the gag
3
of the name, right?
captains forever.
The thing that is like the moments that are amazing are when you
Yeah, the
get
Captain's
totally
Forever. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
is when you get basically entirely destroyed except for like a command module and a gun and like a thruster, and then you like slowly like pick off low level enemies and build all the way back up to a crazy fucking frigate that you then use to take down the sort of like stage enemy. It's got that great sort of like comeback arc that is
Right.
that you never would achieve intentionally, but like when you end up with it, it's really satisfying.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's on Steam?
It's on Steam. Yeah, it's on Steam Early Access. It's called Captain Forever Remix, and it's fun. If you like, I mean, if you don't know if you would like it, you can just play Captain Forever, the web game, and it's very similar in terms of just like core gameplay loop. Also, when I was learning about the existence of the Captain Forever series, which again I didn't realize was such a thing, apparently Farbs, the guy who has made it. He also, I mentioned this a few months ago, but he's the guy who also made ROM CHECK FAIL. ROM CHECK FAIL, which was sort of a freeware like phenomenon several years ago, and it's really fun. It's like a crazy platform.
That's where you're
mashup.
inside of a retro game, and then like it pretends to have a bunch of glitchy things happen, and then you suddenly are the protagonist of a different game inside of that game, and then the
Exactly,
level
yeah.
changes, but you keep the same protagonist, and those sort of keep jumping out of phase.
Yeah, it's really clever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I found out that he, I guess this for like 2 years or maybe, has been working on a crazy like really ambitious 3D version of Captain Forever that he ended up renaming something else because it just started to take on a life of its own. That he's also just been working on while someone else was making like a remix version of his original game. It's an interesting. This guy's an interesting sort of life as an indie. He worked for Irrational Australia before he decided to just start making stuff on his own. It's pretty cool. So that's that Captain Forever remix.
Yeah, I guess actually maybe speaking of ROM Check Fail, you want to talk about that goofy thing that we played for a few minutes earlier?
Pacapong, right?
Pacapong, yeah.
Yes. Pacapong.
Danielle's not here this week.
Pop screen, Pacapong.
In Danielle's absence, we had to play an itch.io ourselves. I don't remember the name of the person who made this. Do you?
No, I can look it up as we talk.
Okay.
I'll be Danielle and look up the itch.io creator as we talk about this itch.io game.
So there's a game on itch.io.
It's by King Penguin.
By King Penguin called Pacapong, which is like Pac-Man and Pong. So Pacapong. And it is basically a three-way hybrid of Pac-Man, Pong, and Space Invaders. So it's a Pac-Man board, and then on the left and right are Pong paddles. And Pac-Man will fly out of the side of the level.
It's a Pac-Man board as if like it just had the edges sawed off, so all of the sort of hallways of the board spill off the two different sides.
Right, and Pac-Man does not loop around.
Yeah.
He just fly like he does in the real game. He just flies off the edge. And if he flies off the edge that has your Pong paddle, you lose.
It's worth saying this is a same screen multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Also.
I'm sorry. It's a same screen multiplayer game. It's a 2-player game, and you have to keep Pac-Man from like flying off the board off of your side of the screen
by catching him with your Pong paddle.
Right, and then shooting him back in.
Yes.
If he flies off your edge of the screen, you lose health. When you launch him back in, all the pellets he eats until he exits the other side of the screen become your health, but they convert to health points for you. They also turn into bullets that your paddle shoots upward at Space Invaders ships that are descending on you.
Inside of the pack, so you're like it's like Pong where you're bouncing a ball back and forth, but the ball is a Pac-Man and he ends up inside of the maze. But inside of the Pac-Man maze, there are ghosts which kill him, but there are power pellets which make the ghosts blink, so Pac-Man can eat the ghosts. But yeah, there are also little like hatchling Space Invaders in there, and if Pac-Man eats one of those, it spawns a Space Invader on the other person's side of the screen. So,
and when Pac-Man is traversing the board, in between the Pong game that's being played, you can't control him.
No, he's just like sort of
going
turning
he seems to do like some random pathfinding until he exits. He'll never exit your side. He will always exit the other side.
He's always moving,
but his route
away
there
from you,
is like erratic.
Go up and down.
He kind of just bounces. Yeah, he sort of bounces around.
I did hear when I was in the other room working, I heard the name Donkey Kong. Is that a spoiler? Is there a Donkey Kong in this game?
It's kind of a spoiler, but it
doesn't matter.
Spoiler alert, Donkey Kong is also in this game.
Sorry, I shouldn't say Donkey Kong, not a Donkey Kong. The Donkey Kong.
I would say that
Donkey Kong himself.
I would say that it's probably a non-infringing Donkey Kong, a character who might remind fans
Kong. Of the... Donkey Kong.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Dinky King appears.
Free, right?
Huh? It's a free game.
It's a free itch.io.
Yeah, Donkey Kong leaps up and throws barrels at you and damages you even more.
Yeah, Donkey Kong's just the random drop. But it's
although one thing that is not obvious, I think, from our discussion about this is that this game is not like they took a bunch of sprites from these games and threw them in, and they just look like a bunch of different games on top of each other. It looks like one cohesive.
It's all drawn in
a very
game.
Clean, homogeneous.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong is drawn in a way because the Pong paddles, they're not just rigid rectangles. They have some like stretch and warp to them. So like everything feels like a sort of 2D.
It's all sort of like
thing.
Nice, like tasteful flat colors, and all the lines are very clean.
Like beveled iOS 8 or something. Yeah,
it's like that. Clean, like it's like if you were gonna buy like a tasteful retro art print of all of these games in the same image, it would be that.
What it looked like.
But then it's got like you said, the sort of squatch and stretch hand animation feel to it. Like the paddles do bounce around. Even the Space Invaders aliens, although they're very sprite like, if you look at the details they have, like their limbs kind of move around a little bit, and like Pac-Man has some bounce to him and stuff.
No, it looked incredibly like well made.
It's really polished.
Like it
is.
It's
and also another thing that like isn't obvious, or what certainly wasn't obvious to me, is that it actually like the design really worked. I have one major complaint about the design, but other than that, it feels like it should be a gimmick like just haha.
Or like it's Pac-Man and Pong and Space Invaders. But they all feed into each other really nicely.
Yeah, all the systems like talk to each other in a way that is satisfying. The only thing I think, Jake, you pointed this out as well when we were playing. The way the game works is there's a time limit, and when the timer runs out, whoever has lower health loses. That is fine in general. It's just that the time limit is so low that it always felt like the game ended before we wanted it to.
There's a fair number of games, I think, where this is maybe a potential problem, but where just you can feel the tendrils of the potential highs and lows that an epic game of this could have because it feeds into itself so well, but the game won't let you have it because the timer runs out. It's like I want to be able to actually play it until you have to die, because we've never had someone run out of health.
No one's ever run out of health. So we don't even know if you can die that way.
Yeah, and it's gotten close where someone starts taking enough of a beatdown that it happens, because But
at that point, the other player just wants to steamroll them. You don't want to just have a timeout.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. You'll have someone just gets a really good set of runs where they've summoned a bunch of Space Invaders aliens and they've eaten most of the pellets on the major pathways, and the other person's just almost dead, and then time runs out.
Yep.
You just want that satisfaction of crushing them.
It's a ridiculous comparison because the timescales are exponentially different, but it's emotionally, it's the exact same way I feel when my Civilization game ends, right when I'm on the cusp of actually taking over the world and culturally or militarily or however, but I've fulfilled the game completion requirements, and so the game's just over now. But I'm I just want to be a fucking superpower for a century now, and then it's over. And that's the same exact way I feel in this 30-second round, however long it is, minute-long round of Pacapong when it ends before I want it to.
Man, a goofy, weird jump from that is, even though I haven't played it in a while now, but Offworld Trading Company, I did not... Wait.
Before you move on to that, let me just really quick say, I think this game is on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And you can download it for free?
From itch.
So from itch.io, it's called Pacapong. So anyway, go on.
Oh, just... Now that you mentioned that, I have not ever... I did in the time that I played Offworld Trading Company, I didn't ever have that experience.
Oh, really?
I either felt like I totally deserved to get shut down, or that I won the game by just...
That's awesome.
But that's in that game... obviously, duh. Because in that game, the way that you win is by just completely stepping everyone else off the board.
Oh, okay.
Thank God.
Right. So that's I guess, a military victory in Civilization.
Yeah, there's no way for it to just...
Whereas the other types of victory in Civilization are always the ones that I like.
Yep.
And then,
Well, I mean, I guess in Offworld, you have to buy everyone out, but the route by which you buy people out is what makes that different, where you sort of out-engineer them, or you sort of, use the black market against them, or you're just incredibly aggressive, or you diversify.
I really have to play this game. I don't know why I haven't yet. It's silly.
And the different sort of starting culture also determines the limits of your game, but sorry, I don't mean to say that that's better or worse than the way that Civ does it or something, but the way it's designed,
I don't think most people are bothered by the thing that I am in Civ. It's not even I'm bothered by it.
I'm so bothered by that in any game where I feel like I have the potential to really just relish what's going on, and then the game doesn't let you. But it's not a game that's about that.
Right.
Civ isn't about withholding that feeling. Civ is about the ultimate triumph of humanity or whatever. So when it's yay, good enough. What?
Well, I mean, maybe, but on the other side of the coin, I think a lot of people do play Civilization to win, whereas I don't. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, I play to play well. I don't deliberately play badly, but I like it as a simulation that just goes on. But that's not really what it's for. It's not really about just creating an indefinite simulation. It is actually about winning.
Right.
And it's, I don't know. That's actually one of the reasons I like, I've probably been playing so much Cities Skylines recently. I mean, by the way, so the Civilization series is one of my favorite series of all time. So don't get me wrong about how I feel about it.
I can't believe you hate Civ.
But
I can't believe you hate Sid Meier.
Man, what a jerk. Actually, the nicest guy in the video game industry. People say things like that about people in fields all the time. He probably is actually the nicest guy in the video game industry. It's crazy. But I think that's why I like games like Cities Skylines so much. Is that you can just kind of play it and just enjoy the system and just watch it go. Man, did you guys saw, I know you saw that San Francisco recreation that someone made in Cities Skylines. Oh my God. Yeah. Someone made a 1.5 to 1 scale San Francisco in City Skyline, recreating the entire like city grid and weird twisty mountainous like hilly sections and
bizarre freeway interchanges.
The horrible freeway interchanges that have sort of actually eroded over time by way of the earth knocking over many of them and stuff.
Yeah.
So do we put them back up in any way we can figure out how?
Or just ignore them.
Yeah. There's no like elegant sort of freeway spaghetti like you would find in Houston where like 3 freeways come together.
Right, or Southern California.
No, in San Francisco, they literally just crash down into city streets because...
Like, these 4 lanes should go down to 1 now. Why not?
It's partly because in 1989, the freeways literally crashed into city streets. Like, the reason that Hayes Valley is nice now, and the reason that the Embarcadero is nice now, is because those freeway exchanges that used to literally just be ruining those, like, sitting next door to a house, like, literally you look out your window and see an overpass... They just fell over or were deemed, or they were like, this is going to fall over right now. So they just killed them. But it makes getting in and out of the city a disaster.
Makes the city nicer, though.
Yes. And City Skylines San Francisco map simulates all of these things.
The best is when he showed his traffic overlay in the last couple. It was like a huge imager gallery, and he showed his traffic like congestion overlay, and it mapped pretty cleanly to the sort of major
Market
pinch
Street's
points
a disaster.
in San Francisco.
Everything else is just sort of
Yeah, you can get depressed by the same traffic that you do on your way home from work.
You guys want to take a break?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
For you, Chris? Yeah, I mean, the break's fine.
Video game.
This episode is brought to you by Harry's. Harry's is an at-home razor delivery service. I guess we'll send it to your office. Send it anywhere.
Send it anywhere you want.
But they're great. They make really high-quality razors at a very, very fair price. They have a starter pack that's $15. With a promo code THUMBS, you can get $5 off. So that's a whole month of shaving for $10. Shipping is always free with Harry's. You'll get a really nice like handle of your chosen color. Has a nice weight to it. You get a bunch of blades, and you get your choice of shaving cream or like a gel.
Are you a Harry's customer?
Yeah, I used it today. Come here. Just touch right there. Touch that cheek. Touch that. Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
I'm a 30-year-old man. That feels like a 7-year-old's face.
Yeah. That's nice.
Thanks to Harry's. But you can go to harrys.com, HARRYS.com. Use the promo code THUMBS for your first starter set of Harry's. It's really great. I like it a lot. I actually got my dad onto Harry's after him being a Gillette man, getting Mach 9s or whatever the fuck for like $40 a box forever, and he loves it. Which is, if you can get a 60-year-old man to change any habit,
anything at all,
that's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Go to harrys.com and use the promo code THUMBS for $5 off your first order. They have a starter set for $15. You'll get it for $10. Shipping's always free, as long as you're a Harry's customer.
Video game.
Craveworthy.
What's Craveworthy, Jake?
NatureBox. I would describe NatureBox as Craveworthy, and so would they.
We crave them.
We crave them. We crave their delicious snacks.
To stop fucking around with what we're saying here, NatureBox is a snack subscription service that will send you delicious things to eat in the mail. You can have them sent to your home, your office, anywhere that has a mailing address. We love them. We have been eating NatureBox snacks for
exclusively for every meal,
exclusively for a year,
7 months. But you can get a free trial at naturebox.com/thumbs. They'll put together a nice pack for you, send it off, and you can try it for yourself. That is naturebox.com/thumbs.
I love them. I crave them. Give them to me now.
I would say I have a yen. I have a NatureBox yen. I would say I have a craving.
I have like a lust.
Yeah, I'm a lust.
naturebox.com/thumbs.
My NatureBox delivery day, I put on my calendar and I circle it and I call it Nature Boxing Day.
That's the day after my NatureBox delivery day.
Video game.
Harry's Berries. Harry and Sherri together, shaving all the little hairs off of raspberries. Don't you wish raspberries with the mouthfeel of blackberries? Well, Harry's and Berries, Harry's and Sherry's have teamed up for hairless berries.
Do either of you guys have any games?
I did have a LAN.
Oh, you should talk about that.
What? I had a fucking LAN. It wasn't even a real LAN. It was like putting everybody in my living room with their computers and making them get on my decent internet.
That's the closest thing you can get to a LAN these days. Well, do people do real LANs anymore?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
Jake,
Sure.
you might know
PAX
that.
and stuff.
What, the last time I went to a LAN was years ago, and it was a Wi-Fi LAN.
Yeah,
It was
but
the same thing.
but I feel like you generally know better than we do. Just like what, like
I don't think
internet
that-
people are doing.
I don't think
these
there are that
days.
many LANs at this point because I think that the internet is fast enough that it doesn't matter.
That was my assumption.
But,
It was amazing because we had
like
five
con
people.
LANs
Yeah.
are the only real LANs that are left.
right, yeah. But even
Con Land, Con Air, Con Sea.
okay, that's enough of that.
That's that end
So,
of first
so
act of
you
Face Off.
you had a Dota 2 LAN,
Yeah.
mean,
we had a 5-man team.
little charitably.
Wow,
call it a
Dota 2
LAN.
supports LAN play? Didn't expect that.
We did not play land.
No, I know. It's just the internet.
Yeah. But we all had really good ping out of my apartment, which is pretty cool. It was really fun.
You guys are a bunch of like
everybody-
LPBs.
Oh
have,
man,
like,
LPBs. Were you like playing games like that when those?
No,
terms were around?
Sean was playing Goldmine and stuff probably.
Yeah.
What? No, I was
Do you know
playing
LPB
StarCraft
and
on-
do you know
Oh, were
LPB
you?
and HPB?
Battle.net?
You know LPB, HPB?
Yes.
Okay.
Those ring Battle.net bells to me.
Can
Like,
you,
you're wrong.
can you do you know what they are? Can you know the
This is
acronym?
a test if you're a
Low
fake.
ping,
If you're
high ping, but I don't know what the B stands for.
bastard?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Low ping bastard and high ping bastard.
Yeah. We had good ping. Decent ping. Fine ping. Strong ping.
I remember
DPB, SBP.
I remember playing StarCraft back in those days, and there was a setting in the options. Maybe Sean, you know what this does, because I never actually knew this did. I just knew that if you didn't do it, everyone would yell at you to do it. You would set the settings from you would say latency low, and that was a setting that as soon as you start a multiplayer game, like you press escape or F10 or whatever the menu button was, and you go in, you go latency, and you set it to low. And to this day, I don't know what.
Why would they support high latency?
Exactly. I don't. There must be a reason. Is
that a performance trade-off?
Like these are all like ringing like weird like
yeah.
dream bells.
Some reader who knows this, I'm sure there's hundreds of readers listening to this who know what this is.
God, why didn't you go to the settings and set your ping to good?
Yeah, exactly.
Like what?
I mean, it seems like it'd be a setting for if you have really high ping, you set it to that, and there's some sort
and
of
it
like
somehow interpolates things or no, it couldn't. But like
it
does
leaves
something.
certain information out of the
Yeah,
packets
I don't know.
or something.
That would be so strange.
I don't know,
Yeah.
man. What? Fuck
Your
if I
the
know.
explosions on your screen might look a little different than someone
You
else's.
can't chat or something. I don't know.
God, everyone turn that setting on.
It just delays your chat. It just gets a high latency on what you type.
You just haha. Like, who's that? What's funny?
I gotta say though, we got rolled all night. It was bad. It was me, Brad Muir, Nick Herman from Telltale, and a couple other friends, and we just sat there getting rolled all night, and that was really weird. It was fun to be in the same room though. Man, playing Dota in the same room is the first time I've ever done that.
Did you guys bring in like the glass box so that no one else in the house could
Brad's
hear you?
like first joke was like, "Man, we need to recreate the pod from TI5 because I mean, we got to start practicing for that."
The International 5.
TI5.
That took me a second. Dota tournament.
It was just really fun. It was really cool to. It
I
was
think
also
that's
great
good.
to just like, shit's easy now. Like everything just fucking kind of works. So like we had 5 computers all running in my living room from the moment the last person showed up till start was like maybe 7 to 10 minutes. Like the bigger problem was I moved my computer out of my office because I couldn't hear people good with my ears. It was fun. It was really enjoyable. We ordered Szechuan from Spices 2. Really good spot.
I love all the sequelized Asian restaurants in the mission.
What's
in the
funny is
Richmond.
I ordered Spices 2, and then one of the guys who I'd never met before, who was at this LAN, was like, "Oh man, Spices 3 is in Oakland." I was like, "Excuse me?" Yeah.
You got Thai Stick and Thai Stick 2.
And they all
you
have a
got
different
King of Thai
name.
Noodles, probably 1 through like 50.
Yeah, there's a bunch
in this
of those.
city.
Spices 1 is just called Spices 1.
Yeah.
Spices 2 is called Spices 2.
Isn't it like a block away?
They're very close.
Yeah, they're so close.
And I think, Spices 2 has a upside down exclamation point as the I, like the like Spanish exclamation point
yeah.
that'd be in the front of the word, and then it's Spices 2 Szechuan Trends Trenz. And if you go there, Brad and I went there to have like a fucking like
That's just the electric
video
boogaloo
game
of
industry.
restaurant sequel
We went
titles.
there to have like a video game industry caucus. Well, I guess you have to have more than 2 people to have a caucus, but just like a meeting of like a gentleman's dinner.
A tete-a-tete.
A tete-a-tete, exactly. At Szechuan Trends. And it's all purple inside. It looks like kind of like being on a Virgin America flight. And we were the only people in there the entire time we were there. And
You were the
we were there for
trendsetters.
2.5 hours. And there was nothing but Nicki Minaj music videos on both TVs. But apparently they make a mint in takeout. Like just do so much fucking
So do you know what
takeout.
Spices 3 is called?
Unclear. No.
Oh, God.
No. But where was I? Yeah, LAN was really fun.
It is surprisingly
Oh, I had
fun.
one other thing.
What?
One other thing to add to just like, because Brad is about to have a baby, so this is Brad being like, "Can we please have a LAN? It's probably my last LAN ever. Like, I'm just not gonna be able to do this again because I always have kids." And like, yeah, of course, yeah, let's just do it. But we ordered food from a place that we liked, which is so we didn't do the pizza thing. We had like cases of LaCroix sparkling water of different flavors and like kale chips and like low fat popcorn with like the cheddar.
You had like San Francisco Dadland.
Yeah. It was so good. Afterwards, I felt great. Like I didn't feel like, like post LAN like soda pizza, I want to kill myself, my body's dying feeling. I felt awesome. I felt just like pleasantly happy and like
God, there was a Gamer Grub flavor named after that, and I can't remember what it was now.
Oh, yeah. It was like
LAN regret.
LAN Party Pizza or something like
Yeah, but it was like there were more adjectives.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the only
So,
video game thing I really did.
Spices 3 uses an Arabic numeral.
Are you
Spices
serious?
2 uses the II Roman numeral.
Right.
Spices 3 in Oakland is the number 3.
Oh, okay. So it goes Spices with the exclamation point upside down as the I. At least on the sign, maybe not on Yelp.
Then
Two,
Spices
numeral.
Roman numeral 2,
Well,
and then
no, so Spices 3 is Spices, regular exclamation point at the end of the word,
Right.
then the number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But no
highly
subtitle.
recommended.
No. It looks like some people also call Spices 3 Szechuan Trends, but I don't think that's actually.
I don't think that's canonical.
Yeah.
no, yeah, that's definitely
all.
like that's
You guys want to do some reader mo?
Really good.
yeah.
They have mouth numbing chili.
All right.
Hearing
They
you
call
talk
it
about
that?
LANs makes me want to have a LAN.
We can do one, dude, anytime.
I know.
My computer's not even back in the office. I can put it anywhere.
Having a
I'm on
bunch
the
of
road.
friends in a room with computers is such a weird feeling, especially now.
Especially now, yeah.
Because just
My dream is to do
other
an
than
actual
Office,
LAN,
but
an actual area network at your parents' beach house in Pismo. That's my dream.
Got to do that.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. I got an idea.
Okay.
Talk to you later about it.
All right, so Chris Mayer writes, Idle Thumbs Game Jam. Dear Thumbs, I'm running a game jam on the forums, and I would love if you could help spread the word by mentioning it on the cast.
Is this that Wizard
Done.
Jam?
Yes, Wizard Jam is running from April 10th to April 24th, and it'll be a great opportunity for people new to development to take their first shot at making a game. A bunch of experienced forum folks from different disciplines have volunteered to answer questions and help out. It seems like we'll have readers of all experience levels making stuff. The theme of this jam will be podcast episode titles, so if you've been daydreaming about Dot Gobbler interactive fiction or doodling cyberpunk cop killers in your free time, now is the perfect time to bring that weird dream to life. This will be a
Please make the Ghost in the Shell. Thank you.
Oh, man. Yes. Now that you've said that, there will be multiple entries, which is good.
God, that weird dream.
please
for
make the
life
Great
just
Gatling
sounds
Gunsby.
like a fucking episode title.
God, an EA Presents Jam.
Oh, man.
The Great Gatling Gunsby is also, please make that. Thank you.
This will be a really casual, non-competitive jam with a focus on teaching new folks. So don't worry about lack of experience or feel pressured to make your magnum opus. Come hang out and have fun making something along with the community. If you're interested, drop by the forum thread to find out more. Just go to www.idlethumbs.net and search for Wizard Jam on the forums. Thanks, Chris Mayer.
should pin that.
Dinosaurs on the forums. Also, here's the thread. Yeah, we definitely should, because we have a whole game development subforum now, which is actually awesome. I don't know if you guys have been in there recently. It's like a really cool place.
I feel like it's worth just...
Oh wait, this is in the Idle Banter
Yeah, it is.
subforum. Okay, well that's fine. I don't know why that's there, but I'm sure there's a good reason.
So I feel a little bit indulgent talking about this for half a second, but a game jam around Idle Thumbs episode titles, it makes me think that maybe I should just mention a couple possible game concepts to people.
Okay, you mean episode titles?
I think they're one and the same now that the Wizard Jam is coming up. So I think that you could make the game you've always wanted to make, Serious Ma'am. You could make the game A Refined Baby. Dr. DNA.
Yeah.
Super Pools and Ghosts. Shadow of Something.
Shadow of Something. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what these games would be, but I want to see someone figure it out.
Yep.
Are you what are you looking through right now?
I'm just looking through old episode titles. You can make Kilo is Here.
Kilo is Here. God, Kilo is Here is good because it's very evocative, but like could be basically anything.
Yeah. For sure. You make I Like the Hair. That'd be a really simple game. When just pictures of haircuts show up and you either like them or let them pass on. And
You could go way back and make Let the Games Begin.
I don't know what that even is.
Someone knows.
Oh. Yep.
What a cool thing. I hope that people get into this and make some cool stuff.
Kobe's Last Shot.
Kobe's Last Shot is really good. I could see that being a texted, like an interactive fiction, high interiority, like real.
Or it's like a very tiny cart life where you just get like the 3 frame slam dunk from Double Dribble, but then like he's sad and in the shower and it's over.
Right. Also with the shower from Cart Life.
Yeah, from Cart Life.
The sort of anguished, defeated shower guy.
Oh, you could play.
Except it would obviously be like the shower after the game, so it would just be like 4 other naked guys.
Yeah, it's just the same art duped. You could make the game Cruisin' for a word that rhymes with cruisin'. You could make XCOM Obama.
An edutainment game, by the way.
XCOM Obama. It's not bad.
Standing on the Shoulders of Babies. Anyway,
God, there's a lot of gold in there.
A Nick Brecken adventure.
yeah. Anyway, I'm just
Hopefully
saying.
someone makes the first game in the Nick Brecken series and calls it Standing on the Shoulders of Babies.
Or you could make a game called Happy Dishonored Return of Nick Brecken. That's the sequel in that series, obviously.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm done reading our own episode titles out, but I've not ever thought about them in that context at all, and it's really funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
You could make the game Free Macintosh Wears. Episode 83.
Yeah, okay. You want to move on here?
Yes.
You want to keep going? Because we should move on.
Crazy Crane's Deceit.
Okay, anyway. Alex Lovett writes, Hi, Thumbs. I'm relatively new to the podcast, and I'm happy to have discovered a video game discussion both effortlessly intelligent and blissfully stupid. Two different...
Wow, hi, hello.
Blissfully intelligent.
Anyway, see the previous part a second ago when we were reading our own episode names.
I think I got those adverbs misplaced.
Two different recent episodes have inspired me to write in with 2 different stories.
Sorry, really quick.
Yeah.
The third and concluding game in the Nick Brecken trilogy is the death of Nick Brecken.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
Story 1. In a recent episode, a listener wrote in to describe a childhood practice of cooperatively playing PC games with one friend controlling the mouse and the other the keyboard. In college, I had a similar experience of the 1999 Aliens vs. Predator game, only instead of a childhood friend, it was a woman from my dorm on whom I'd developed a painful crush. I was pretty emotionally immature at the time and never told her how I felt. She either didn't know about my covert longing or was polite enough to ignore it. I treasured every moment we spent hunched together at my desk playing the game. I was the keyboard, she was the mouse. It gave me a secret thrill every time our arms brushed together. Oh, man.
This is an Idle Thumbs missed connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know if this is a missed connection. This is like an belabored connection.
But
Yeah, this
we
is
played
like-
Alien versus Predator together. I was the keyboard. You were the mouse.
I know.
It is a missed connection.
It's a good line. I know. Yeah, it's true. If this had been at a cyber cafe, somehow, I don't know what scenario would end up with you in a cyber cafe playing a game in that way with someone you
We
don't
met
know.
at the cyber cafe. They only had one computer, and we both wanted to play Alien versus Predator.
I was the keyboard. You
I
were
was the
mouse.
keyboard. You were the mouse. You then
You
left.
liked drinking pina coladas and getting...
The game had 3 separate campaigns: Human, Colonial Marine, Predator, and Alien. I don't think we ever touched the first 2, but she was a fan of the Alien movies, so we played through that campaign multiple times. We were partners, slinking together through the game's environments and striking enemies from the shadows. We could anticipate each other's every move without needing to speak. This was not the form of intimacy I desired, but I felt closer nonetheless. Oh, this is such a,
Well, hold on. I have advice.
for, past version
For this
of
guy's
guy?
college life? When
No.
playing this game is like
I
from
mean, this
10
couldn't have
plus
been
years
that
ago.
long ago.
What?
10 plus years. That's not very long.
Alien versus Predator, if it's the... I don't know which one he's talking about, but the first...
1999.
Yeah.
What you do...
16 years.
This could
This could be half their life ago.
They're still friends. He still knows how to get a hold of her. You gift her a copy of Alien Isolation. That's exactly what you do.
Yeah, that's true, actually. It's a good move. So this was not the form of intimacy I desired, but I felt close to her nonetheless. We beat that campaign on the highest difficulty setting, still one of the few games I can say that about. It's a bittersweet memory. I eventually and belatedly matured, deleted the word friend zone from my vocabulary, and had more healthy relationships with women. I'm happily married now. Oh. Remembering this experience today, I am flooded with a strange mixture of shame and nostalgia. I really like that story because I feel like that is that, even though I've definitely never had that particular like way of feeling that, like that particular like emotion when you're at that age, when everything's like really heightened and things are inflated in your brain and like I don't know, I feel like in that there's like a period of several years in your like late teens when everything is just like the most intense version of what it is. And I can totally imagine how this guy was feeling, even if the circumstance was an unusual one. I like that. Story 2. I skipped the Jak and Daxter games in the PS2 era, but when the series developer Naughty Dog went on to create some of my favorite AAA PS3 experiences with Uncharted and The Last of Us, I thought I should more deeply engage with their ooh. It was for this reason that I recently... I don't know how to pronounce that word without saying it ridiculously.
You got it. You're close enough.
Ooh. It was for this reason that I recently got around to picking...
If you wanted to do a Idle Thumbs Game Jam named after a Dota Today episode, you call it the Hoove Oove.
That's true. You can't... Is it possible to say that word like casually without sounding weird? I thought perhaps French, I should more deeply engage with their oove. You just sound like you're making something up. Right?
Excuse me, with their
with their oove.
Did something just happen to
with
you?
Their Brett Favre. It was for
Favre's
this.
Oove.
It was for this reason that I recently got around to picking up the remastered PS3 Jak collection. I settled down on the couch to play It just now occurred to me that Jak is just the name Jak, but without a C in it. It's weird that they spelled it weird because it's just a name. It's just a name, Jak. Like
also, Daxter's not a real name. Dexter is a name.
Yeah, they're both just like one letter off of just normal.
Well, that's
names.
why they're friends. They live in a world of regularly named people. They decided to
only they understand.
Yeah, that's why they're together. They're outcasts.
He was the keyboard.
Outcast. And then they party with Outcast with a K.
And Exhibit. I settled down on the couch to play the first of the series, feeling like I was filling an unfortunate gap in my video game experience. I turned on Idle Thumbs and was pleasantly surprised to hear Chris talking about his experience of playing the exact same game. Great, I thought. While I play this forgotten gem, I will hear some informed commentary from a respected voice in the field of interactive media. Shit. I don't think he thought that exactly at the time. I don't think
anybody's ever thought that.
Yeah, I agree.
In those words.
Here was Chris's take, and I quote, I played through the entire thing in one day, and I'm like, that was so boring. Why did I just do that? You really took the wind out of my sails, man. It turns out that Jak and Daxter didn't set my world on fire, and it's not much of an endorsement that I felt the need to multitask with a podcast while I played, but I don't understand Chris's scorn. The game essentially feels to me like slightly shallower version of Mario 64. That's not such a bad model to follow. Cordially, Alex L., Detroit, Michigan. But here's the fucking bomb I'm going to drop, Alex. I wasn't that into Mario 64.
Wow.
Yeah.
Neither was I. Whatever.
Oh, really?
Mario 64 is fine.
You were into it?
Yeah, big time. Big time. Yeah. Could not stop playing that game.
I loved basically all the 3D Mario games that came after 64. I've talked about this before. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, no, you're the same age as me, Chris.
Yep.
I thought this was an age thing.
We're like 2 months apart.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh yeah, Jake was like, yeah.
I was at LANs.
In my case, I don't think it's
You're
because...
playing Quake. You were like, whatever, Mario 64 baby, you'd say. You kick me in front of my...
We've talked about this a lot of times.
Yeah.
We've talked about the...
My opinion was not informed. It was just that I was bad at it and didn't get it.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Although those games feel really different to me. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I mean, Jak and Daxter, I just remember feeling so much more like flat. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not... Don't need to get back into that. Let's see what else we have here. Anu Pokerel writes in and says, Dear Thumbs, Rhino update. Following my earlier email about Himalayan rhinos, my dad saw this guy literally chilling out on the side of the road the other day in Nepal. And he has a photograph of a fucking rhino.
Oh, man.
He just said, we got reader mail that's just a sleeping rhino in a picture.
With a Far Cry box next to it.
Whoa. This could be anywhere. And that rhino, he's sleeping, Chris?
I don't know, it might be dead.
He looks like Danielle headshotted him with a fucking arrow.
That's true.
And also, like,
No
you know what's
skeleton
really
with
funny
a-
to me?
What?
Is that, like, trees in most places, unless it's the rainforest or the redwoods, just look the same everywhere. Like, unless it's the redwoods or like a bamboo forest
Yeah, this
or
could
whatever.
be.
And it's just
yeah.
like, oh yeah, that looks like Golden Gate Park. And then there's just a rhinoceros
Mhm.
in a puddle. That rhino's definitely hanging out in real life.
Yep.
I still feel dumb about that.
That's
Not
okay.
thinking there were any rhinos in Nepal.
What are you going to do?
I still feel like I'm getting something pulled over on me.
There's just a conspiracy.
Yeah.
So this Idle Thumbs reader and Ubisoft Montreal have teamed up to minorly correct a meaningless assumption you made. I mean, they did.
I mean, I know that's a little
you're right.
solipsistic. So I'm not going to press it any further.
Gordon V-Man writes, "Hi Thumbs, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts in the video game sphere recently,
What a name. Anyway.
and I've noticed
Playing Half-Life has been very confusing for him.
and I've noticed that the concept of lore in a game has become a dirty word of sorts.
It is.
When Chris or Jake mention it, for example, their voices imply an eye roll. Has lore in a game become a synonym for self-aggrandizing on the part of the developers, or is it something more complicated than that? Thanks, Gordon."
I think lore is just like an assumption that people think a story needs.
Well, I think he wants you to define lore.
I
not
think what he wants us to say is it's lore more like bore.
Good job. Yes. Good. Yeah. I
That's
think
the
that's probably
rule.
what he was looking for.
That's the cross stitch you should have.
No, lore as defined, I think, I'm not going to say for us, but by me, is a lot of plot and character exposition.
Yeah. Or or overburdened
written as
backstory.
That's written
Yeah,
as
yeah.
backstory to support whatever world you've created to put your video game in, as opposed to letting the world tell its own story vis-a-vis what happens to characters and how they react to
Yeah,
it.
and you like back events obviously have to exist for a story to work, but when it's just like this is important because in the third epoch, blah,
Right, yeah.
it's like, oh
Right.
man,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same, like, real history is incredible, but history class for kids is synonymous with boring class. So you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then your grandfather got into a giant iron bird and flew to Normandy. It's like, whatever. Fuck, whatever. Like, are we done? It's like, nobody cares when stories are told like that. But if you can figure out a way to, like, tell a story that's more present, it ends up, I think, being more effective.
Yeah. Also, there's part of the problem with lore is that games that have things in them that could be described as lore, this is not intrinsically true, but very frequently they have a lot of it, like way more than could possibly be necessary to achieve the goals that it needs to achieve, like setting the sort of parameters for the world. Like,
What was your face?
I just
Jay.
one day I'll talk in this question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I don't.
The time is now. The day has come. The sun has risen.
I was going to semi-inadvertently give a half defense of lore.
Oh, go for it.
One thing that I do enjoy in games is the sort of game that feels like it is a window into a fully realized world that is completely unlike the world in which I live, but is also not directed. Like, Skyrim fucking needs lore. Skyrim doesn't work without lore. You can't exist in that world at that level of detail for that long without a just disgusting buttload of lore. And it's that doesn't mean it's all going to be good, but that doesn't mean that you should not write it off as a mode of making a game, you know?
No,
I mean,
but I think
you need a
by
bunch of
mode,
shitty books to read through.
Skyrim starts and you're just talking to another guy about, like, basically politics of, like, you're this has happened, you're arrested, we're fucked, everything's bad. And then a dragon shows up and springs you, and then there's tons of lore that makes that world come to life, but you don't have to read any of it. You can just ignore it and, like, you go, oh, that's the lore over there, and it makes the world feel the way it's supposed to feel, but it's not forced down your throat. In the, like, lore being forced on you in interstitials or in cutscenes or in those big, like, text-heavy openings.
Well, Elder Scrolls
with a
has
narrator.
also done that. Like, I think
Yeah.
Oblivion started with Patrick Stewart doing the exact thing you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I was just responding to Skyrim.
Yeah,
I know
But
you
yeah,
were. I'm
like,
just saying.
I
I'm
just
just
feel like
saying.
Yeah,
the need of, once you write lore, to have, like, a very authoritative voice tell it to you at the beginning of the game is the worst.
No, that's true. You're right. I mean, yeah, that's totally fair. I think the way that we've been talking about it has gotten, like, the waters in that are muddied between what's the play experience, what's like if you're a creator, don't make a thing that like I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah. No, we were probably overstating it a little bit. I think it's just important to know what your game is and like try.
Well, and I think no matter what, to the last thing that Sean said, don't. If you're making a thing that requires just stuffing that stuff down someone's throat to enjoy it, you might want to reconsider.
Right. The thing that's enjoyable about Skyrim, at least for me, is either the emergent storylines that emerge from crazy shit, or the really specific character-driven storylines that are about like intrigue and like people stabbing each other in the back, and like this small cast of characters that are all acting as human beings.
All of that stuff hangs together because they've built like Bible the size of 2 phone books.
So
it's fun that the lore is the backdrop.
Stitch it all.
Right.
Yeah.
A good you know what a great example is like Tim has talked about in like making Psychonauts, writing.
Tim Schafer?
Yeah, Tim Schafer has talked about writing giant profiles for every kid at that camp.
He made Friendster profiles to date Psychonauts. Yeah.
And there's so many kids that go to that camp in the game, but that's the stuff that he needed to make the world feel as big as it did and feel alive and feel legitimate. That's not lore.
That's not in. It's not like
that's just doing the work. You know, like
the closest Psychonauts has to lore is the like this is the revered camp and like
I was gonna say the Raz sort of backstory.
Well, like Psychonauts also has like these.
Well, also it has the
great heroes, and everyone can become a Psychonaut. And here's all the past glory that the Psychonauts have had, and the camp has fallen on hard times. Like, man, there's a lot of good stuff.
We wrote it, so it better be in the game.
Yep.
You know. Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't know, something else. Johnny.
Speaking of, I think the word you're looking for is anything else.
Yeah. Johnny Driggs writes religious iconography in Japanese games. Yeah, Johnny Driggs. By the way, before we read this email, we can thank him for all the amazing work he does every single week to provide a great service to people who listen to Idle Thumbs. He is responsible for our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/idlevideos. Every single week, Johnny Driggs fully annotates every episode of the show and uploads this time-stamped version to YouTube, so you can like scroll through and look at what's discussed and jump to it in the podcast. It's a really amazing tool, and in fact has been used by someone else to create ThumbsDB, is that what it's called?
ThumbsDB, yeah.
ThumbsDB, like a database of like timestamps and topics in Idle Thumbs episodes.
We keep meaning to like host that and make it nice, and someone actually helped on that. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this that I haven't gotten back to you. I know that I'm supposed to.
Yeah, when it comes, Idle Videos is great. Like, let's say you just had a big argument with your friend about lore, and you wanted to talk about, like, share that part of the podcast with them.
About Idle Thumbs lore?
Yeah, you can go to Idle Videos, click on this episode, scroll down to the timestamp, and just send them the URL with the timestamp included, and they'll jump right to this part of the podcast.
ThumbsDB is like an interactive lore dump.
Yeah. You can also find all the other times we've talked about lore and create a meta lore of Idle Thumbs about our opinions about lore.
Next episode, we'll start by presenting that to you on 3 giant tapestries.
Anyway, the thing he actually wrote in about is totally unrelated to any of these topics.
No lore, huh?
You could claim this is related to lore. He writes, Dear Thumbs, regarding your discussion of Bloodborne and its Catholic pastiche, Nick is sort of right when he said it's probably that the designers see it as another fantasy setting to adapt and remix at their whim. While this might seem an insensitive appropriation of a foreign culture, and it might well be that, it's a bit more in line with how Japanese artists use religious iconography in general. Japanese culture does not treat its own religious traditions with as much reverence when it comes to popular media. Film, television, games, and advertising use gods and figures from Shinto and Buddhism in ways that might seem crass to outsiders. In my view, it's because Japanese people more readily see religion as mythology. Japanese popular culture usually extends the same courtesy to other religions around the world. When outlandish depictions of Christianity show up in Japanese games, it's not just that Christianity seems exotic to Japanese viewers, it's that it's just sort of what you do with religion. Western viewers might be more used to seeing these kinds of depictions with dead religions like those of ancient Greece, and might be surprised that similar representations of religions that are still actively practiced. One of the ultimate expressions of this is the Shin Megami Tensei games, where gods and figures from religious traditions, both living and dead, are essentially turned into Pokemon. You can summon the Shinto father of all gods, Izanagi, to cast lightning spells and have obscure biblical figures like Melchizedek restore your party's HP. I should note I'm talking about general attitudes in popular culture. There are plenty of devout people in Japan who probably don't like their gods used as villains in kids' cartoons. Keep up the good casting, Johnny Driggs. P.S. The guy who said goatees are gross is acting like a real schmuck. Some of us have chins that could be stronger, don't need to be hassled. My neatly trimmed facial hair is very stylish, and I get lots of compliments from attractive men and women. Also, my wife says I look like I'm 12 without it. P.P.S. I'm sure his beard is very nice, too. Jake's beard is very nice.
What? I wasn't on that episode.
I thought you were the one who said...
Was I talking about
Beards
goatees
are
being
gross.
gross? Beards? I have a
You
beard.
said goatees
You were
are gross.
definitely the one who said
You
this.
might have said goatees are gross.
No, you
might have
said
just
you
misheard
said
it.
beards are gross and goatees are even grosser. You said that.
Oh, but I have a beard.
I know. You said
It's all
you
you have.
pointed out that you were talking about you mentioned that you were included in this. I can't believe you don't remember this. You
I don't
definitely
remember
did that.
anything that I ever say on this podcast. If that's not known by now.
Yeah. You can look up your mention on Johnny Driggs' cataloging of Idle Thumbs episodes.
That's true. Man, had he been like, whoever said goatees are gross, Idle Thumbs 103, 34 minutes, 27 seconds.
Yeah.
Hash T equals.
Yeah, T equals 30M24S.
Let's see here.
More lore emails.
I'm not going to. So this email, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it would be impossible to read, and you'll see why in a second. But I wanted to just mention this is Tim O'Neill writes the Phonetic Alphabet. Hi Thumbs. Last week Chris mentioned not being able to read IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, and it broke my heart because you are smart, wonderful people who deserve to experience the joy of the IPA. I've included a list of the common
Extra
symbols
hoppy beer.
used in standard American English transcriptions and brief explanations. And he wrote just an enormous email that has all the little IPA symbols that you see on like dictionaries and Wikipedia and stuff explaining explanations. And I was just really impressed by the effort he went to try and educate our stupid asses about
Beer.
pronouncing. Yeah, we get it. It's an IPA. Yep. Good one, Sean.
I wasn't here. I don't know what you guys are actually talking about.
Have you ever seen the like phonetic alphabet pronunciations when you go to like a definition of a word or something and they have
Oh, like an
amazing,
IPA.
be like,
the like upside down
dot,
E and stuff?
yeah. I
Yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
those. And I mentioned that I don't know how to read those. I think it's because someone wrote in an email and they included how to pronounce their name with those. And
it
I'm
was
like,
not
I
helpful
don't
to
know
you.
how to do this.
And you're like, upside down EMLI?
Right. Yeah.
That's Emily.
Anyway, if you've read this, so this is the end of his email.
says
If you've
email.
read this far down, I'm flattered. And I know the following things might have been said before, but I feel need to mention that Danielle's presence has been delightful. My attraction to Sean helped me realize I'm gay, and congrats, Nick. Regards, T. O'Neill from Metro Detroit. I actually read this on my own. I read this entire email on my own, and I was very appreciative of it, and then I realized I'm not going to remember any of it. So
So I've printed it out
sorry,
on this
T.
handy wrist card that I keep underneath my sleeve, like a quarterback.
If the characters will copy over, you should put it on the forum.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
The Idle forums.
No.
Home of the Wizard Jam.
I'm kind of into that Wizard Jam. If people want some twine help, I might jump over there. Some Unity help.
Yeah. You could make a twine. You could make a twine for the
I could
Wizard
make a
Jam.
Choose-a-tron.
Yeah.
We never talked about that. I should talk about that next week.
Okay.
Thanks
Someone
for the-
write in and remind Sean to talk about the Choose-a-tron. You guys want to call this?
Yes, I think we should.
All right. Thanks for listening to Idle Thumbs. As a reminder, we have a new podcast called The End of Mad Men, featuring the three of us discussing...
And John Hamm. John Hamm's
definitely
on
on all of
it.
them.
Subscribe to it.
Barack
wasn't on
Obama's on it.
They kiss.
Sonic is on our podcast.
As well as 3 Sonic OCs will be unveiling over the course.
Mad Men themed Sonic OCs from choice episodes. God, the Sonic OC that's inspired by neighbor Glenn.
Yeah, well,
Matthew Weiner's son, by the
Creepy
way.
Glenn, the Hedgehog. Harry Crane, the Hedgehog.
I want Pete Campbell the Hedgehog.
Pete Campbell, the Hedgehog? Yeah. Watch him mature and go bald over the course.
I know. I love that he keeps going more bald. Okay, well, that's a discussion for a
guys.
different podcast.
And if you
called
want to hear
The
more
End
of
of
it,
Madmen.com.
endofmadmen.com.
Endofmadmen.com. You can find all the information.
Guys, thanks for having me on the podcast this week.
Oh, you're welcome, Sean. Anytime.
Really fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing an Idle Thumbs Kickstarter with us in 2012.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. No skin off my back.
That was a lot of skin off all of our backs, as I recall.
There's a lot of skin off the readers' backs.
That's
Their green
true.
backs.
They gave us a lot of those.
Yeah.
Thank you, readers, if you were among them.
We have to file
What are we
taxes.
talking about? Let's stop recording this. This is terrible.
If you were to cut all that lore stuff
Yeah?
from the episode, would you call it the Lorax?
Oh my God.
I would not call it that now.
I would call it Lorax the Hedgehog.
That's very confusing for me.
I would call it Lorax 2 Spice Trends or whatever.
Szechuan trends.
All right. You can find us on the internet at idlethumbs.net/idlethumbs. Please review us on iTunes if you like this podcast. Thanks for listening.
You're welcome, Chris.
What?